Celia is coming with us.
You can't talk to my boy that way.
Seemed like if he hadn't been your boy, he might have made somebody a halfway decent man. I got children. My children living in Africa.
Fans might have never guessed this. Did you know The Color Purple almost had a completely different cast? Or that auditions were held under a secret code name? From surprising behind-the-scenes choices to unexpected moments that shaped the film, there's more than meets the eye. Curious to uncover these hidden stories? Join us as we reveal 20 weird facts about the 1985 classic that even die-hard fans might have missed. Number 20. It was a pace-setter. Steven Spielberg's The Color Purple was a huge success with critics, but made history in a bittersweet way. The film earned 11 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Actress for Whoopi Goldberg, and Best Supporting Actress nods for Margaret Avery and Oprah Winfrey. The nominations established The Color Purple as an important film and launched the careers of its stars, especially Goldberg and Winfrey, who both gained worldwide attention. However, despite its numerous nominations, something that has often been noted in Hollywood history occurred, and number 19 explains it all. Number 19. A lack of Oscar wins. It's no surprise that the numerous nominations built hope and excitement. However, on awards night, the film walked away without a single win. For many fans and critics, this was more than disappointing. It was seen as one of the biggest snubs in Oscar history. People have long debated why the movie was shut out. Some believe its honest but painful portrayal of black men stirred controversy within the Academy, leading to hesitation in rewarding it. Others point to the strong competition that year. Out of Africa, a sweeping romantic drama, dominated the ceremony and claimed the Best Picture prize, leaving little room for Spielberg's emotional adaptation of Alice Walker's novel. Even without an Oscar win, The Color Purple made a lasting mark. It brought powerful performances, unforgettable music, and raw storytelling to the screen, while also sparking difficult conversations about race and family. Yet, amid this overlooked brilliance, one question remains. Which careers did this film quietly set into motion? Number 18. The debut that launched two legends. The Color Purple became the launching pad for two women who would go on to shape film and television. Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah Winfrey both made their acting debuts in the movie, and both delivered performances so powerful that they earned Oscar nominations. Whoopi Goldberg took on the lead role of Celie, a woman who endured years of pain yet found her voice and strength. Her moving portrayal earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress, an extraordinary achievement for her first film role. Oprah Winfrey also shined in her breakout role as Sophia, a fiery and outspoken woman whose spirit could not be broken even by cruelty. Her performance landed her a nomination for Best Supporting Actress, placing her alongside seasoned Hollywood names despite being new to acting. But while audiences were captivated by the actor's brilliance, few realized that the world they inhabited on screen wasn't Georgia at all. So where did Hollywood bring this story to life? The next fact is one that would definitely shock fans. Number 17. Hollywood in North Carolina. Although the story in the novel was set in rural Georgia, the film version came to life mostly in Anson County and Union County in North Carolina. The state has long been a favorite spot for filmmakers because it offers so many different backdrops, from rolling mountains to wide sandy beaches. Over the years, several famous movies and shows have been shot there. Forrest Gump captured scenes at Grandfather Mountain, while The Color Purple also used Anson and Union counties to create its powerful setting. Fans of blockbusters will remember that The Hunger Games brought its dystopian world to the forests and towns of the region. The much-loved classic Dirty Dancing filmed around the Asheville area, adding to the state's film legacy. Yet behind the camera, the story's journey wasn't without controversy. How did Alice Walker react when her novel was first adapted for the screen? Number 16. Book authors' initial skepticism. Alice Walker's The Color Purple and Steven Spielberg's movie version.
I don't think there's another filmmaker on the planet that would be unanimous, and what strikes me
have both sparked heated arguments since the book came out in 1982 and the film in 1985. The biggest dispute focused on how black people, especially black men and families, were shown. many critics felt the story painted them in a negative light. This was not the first time movies caused such anger. Earlier films like The Birth of a Nation, Gone with the Wind, and Porgy and Bess had also drawn heavy protests. What made The Color Purple different was that the backlash was not united. Black men and women often disagreed, sometimes strongly, about the impact the story had on the black community. Another key difference was that the book was created by a black woman, while the movie was directed by a white man, which added another layer of debate. The book won major prizes and awards, but the film reached a far bigger audience. By 1986, the movie had earned nearly $100 million, making it clear that more people saw Spielberg's version than read Walker's novel. But that wasn't the only controversy they encountered. Number 15 would definitely shock you. Number 15. The opening sequence controversy. When the first film of The Color Purple premiered, Alice Walker admitted she disliked the opening scene, but later changed her mind after watching the full movie. Since then, the story has been retold on stage and screen many times, each exploring different parts of Sally's life. Viewers have seen her painful struggles with abuse, her powerful bond with her sister Nettie, and her strength to rise above hardship. Let's move on to the next fact on our list. Number 14. Spielberg's reluctant agreement. Steven Spielberg almost didn't direct The Color Purple. At first, he felt unqualified, believing that someone with roots in the Deep South would better understand Alice Walker's story. To him, his own life experiences seemed far removed from the world the novel described, so he hesitated. Quincy Jones, however, thought differently. As producer and composer, Jones was determined to have Spielberg lead the project. He told Spielberg that what mattered most was not where he came from, but his ability to tell human stories with care and sensitivity. Jones believed Spielberg's talent for capturing raw emotion could bring the characters to life, and he persuaded him to accept the challenge. While fans loved it, it also had negative impacts on some of the casts. Let's reveal who was affected the most in number 13. Number 13. Oprah gets body shamed. Oprah Winfrey has lived much of her life in the spotlight, and with it came constant attention to her body. For decades, her weight was a public talking point, splashed across magazine covers and often discussed on her own talk show, which ran for 25 years. Looking back, Oprah says it felt like an open sport for people to mock her. For 25 years, I was blamed and shamed, and I blamed and shamed myself too, she told People in a recent interview. One painful memory stood out from the early years of her career.
Be with you all here on the Oprah podcast. I thank you for joining me.
Fashion critic Mr. Blackwell once placed her on his infamous worst-dressed list. She remembers seeing herself on a magazine cover with the cruel headline, "Dumpy, Frumpy, and Downright Lumpy." Oprah didn't feel anger at the time. Instead, she felt sadness and deep hurt. Rather than fighting back, she says she carried the shame inside and even believed it was her own fault. Today, as a co-producer of the new Color Purple movie, she reflects on those moments with honesty and strength. But what happens when she strives for change? Find out in number 12. Number 12. Spielberg's declined Oprah's request. When Oprah Winfrey was cast as Sophia in The Color Purple, she almost made a decision that could have changed everything. Before filming began, she enrolled in a weight loss camp, hoping to slim down. But then she got a surprising phone call from Steven Spielberg, the film's director. Spielberg told her to leave the camp right away. He explained that Sophia was meant to be a big, strong woman, both in body and spirit. Losing weight, he said, would take away from the power of the character. Oprah listened, and his words struck her deeply. Sophia wasn't just another role. She was a woman whose size, presence, and unshakable will were central to who she was. Spielberg wanted that strength to shine through exactly as Oprah was. Let's move on to the next on the list. Number 11. No special effects needed. Unlike Steven Spielberg's famous blockbusters filled with action, adventure, and dazzling effects, The Color Purple was a completely different kind of film. Instead of relying on spectacle, it drew its strength from storytelling and unforgettable characters. The movie was built on emotion rather than explosions, on dialogue rather than dramatic chase scenes. Every moment was carried by the struggles and triumphs of Sally, Sophia, Shug, and the others whose lives unfolded on screen. Their experiences, love, loss, pain, and resilience were the special effects. For Spielberg, it was a bold step away from the style that had made him a household name with films like Jaws and E.T. Here, the focus was on the quiet power of human drama. The film's impact came from the raw performances of its cast and the emotional weight of Alice Walker's story, not from big-budget tricks. But his commitment went even further. Just how far was Spielberg willing to go to bring this story to the screen? Number 10. Spielberg waived his usual salary. When Steven Spielberg agreed to direct The Color Purple, he made an unusual choice. Instead of collecting his normal salary of around $15 million, he accepted only $40,000, the minimum set by the Directors Guild of America. It was clear his interest in the project wasn't about money, but about telling a powerful story. At the same time, Spielberg made another decision that shaped the film's final version. In Alice Walker's novel, the relationship between Celie and Shug Avery is openly romantic and deeply important to Celie's journey. But Spielberg chose to soften that part of the story. He worried that if he showed it fully, the film would receive a harsher rating, limiting how many people could see it. This choice has been debated ever since. While some praise Spielberg for bringing Walker's story to a wide audience, others felt an essential piece of Celie's identity was lost. The decision highlighted the constant tension between staying true to a book's message and adapting it for mainstream Hollywood in the 1980s. But where did this groundbreaking story originally come from, and what made it so remarkable even before it reached the big screen? This brings us to number 9. Number 9, based on a Pulitzer Prize winner. Alice Walker's The Color Purple earned the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 1983, making her the first African-American woman to win the award. The novel stood out because of its raw honesty, emotional depth, and the fresh way it told Celie's story through letters. At its heart, the book showed Celie's journey from silence and abuse to strength and independence. Surrounded by women who gave her love and support, she found her own voice and courage. Readers connected with this powerful message of survival and empowerment. Walker also tackled big issues that many avoided. She wrote openly about racism, sexism, violence, and oppression, while also showing the healing power of love and community. The way she used Black English vernacular made the story feel real and true, giving Celie's words an authentic voice that resonated with people everywhere.
I want to know your mama. Mama.
Critics praised the novel's richness and the way it portrayed complex, flawed, yet inspiring characters. But when it came time to bring this powerful story to the screen, how did Hollywood keep the project under wraps during auditions? Number 8. A code name for auditions. When auditions for The Color Purple were being held, the casting team wanted to keep the project a secret. To hide its identity, they used the code name Moonsong. This led to a story Oprah Winfrey often recalls about how she came to the film. Oprah explained that she once received a call asking her to audition for a movie called Moonsong. At first, she was confused since the title meant nothing to her, but she had been quietly praying for a role in The Color Purple, a story she deeply loved. When she finally read the script, she realized Moonsong was just a disguise for The Color Purple. Using code names is common in Hollywood. It helps protect high-profile projects from being leaked or spoiled before they are ready to be announced. For Oprah, that discovery was life-changing. What started as a mysterious audition for something called Moonsong turned into her breakout role as Sophia.
My life, I had to fight. I had to fight my daddy. I had to fight my uncles.
The part that launched her acting career and linked her forever with The Color Purple. But beyond breakout roles, what truly makes the film unforgettable is the way it traces deep character growth over decades, especially that of Celie herself. Number 7. Focus on character growth. The Color Purple is remembered not only for its story, but also for the way it shows characters growing and changing across 3 decades. At the heart of it all is Celie, whose journey shapes the entire film. At the beginning, Celie is silenced and abused, living under the control of her father and later her husband, Albert. She has little sense of self and no power to fight back. Her life seems trapped in suffering. But over time, with the help of strong women around her, she begins to discover her worth. Her bond with her sister Nettie gives her hope, even in separation. Her friendship and love for Shug Avery help her realize that she deserves care, beauty, and joy. Through these connections, Celie begins to grow stronger, step by step. The turning point comes when she finally stands up to Albert, reclaiming her voice and independence. By the end, Celie is no longer a victim, but a confident, free woman who has learned the true meaning of love, family, and self-respect. Number 6. Tina Turner turned down a role. Tina Turner was once considered for a major role in The Color Purple, but she turned it down for deeply personal reasons. In a 1986 interview, Tina explained that acting in the film would have felt like reliving painful parts of her past with her abusive ex-husband, Ike Turner. She said the movie seemed too dark and too close to her own life story. "I'm trying to forget the past, because it's done. I'm not going to do a part that would remind me of what I've lived already," Tina admitted. She also didn't want to sing in a role that connected her art to memories she wanted to leave behind. Producer Quincy Jones had approached her about playing Shug Avery, a bold and free-spirited singer, but Tina refused, saying it would drag her down emotionally.
It would have been almost like asking me to go back to Ike as his wife. I could not do that movie.
The part later went to Margaret Avery, whose performance earned her an Oscar nomination. Oprah Winfrey later explained Tina's decision simply. She had already lived it with Ike. By turning it down, Tina protected her healing and chose peace over painful memories. Yet while the film featured such transformative performances, not every role found its way to the screen. So who famously turned down a part that could have been life-changing? Number 5. Hot topic of controversy. One of the most debated parts of The Color Purple is the lesbian relationship between Celie and Shug Avery. In Alice Walker's original novel, their bond is central to Celie's journey of self-discovery and empowerment. But over the years, some adaptations have softened or erased this element, sparking strong criticism. Critics argue that leaving out or downplaying the romance between Celie and Shug misrepresents the heart of the story. Their relationship is not just friendship, it's romantic, emotional, and physical. And it plays a key role in Celie learning to love herself. For many, it's also an important portrayal of Black lesbian identity, something rarely shown in mainstream stories at the time. When the book was first released, some readers misunderstood the relationship, dismissing it as a product of trauma, or ignoring its queer nature altogether. Conservative voices later attacked the film for even hinting at lesbian themes, which only added to the controversy. But for Celie, Shug's love was life-changing. It gave her strength to stand against male dominance and reclaim her own voice. Their relationship also highlights how race, gender, and class struggles are deeply connected, a theme that remains powerful today. Let's move on to the next fact in our list. Number 4. A departure from blockbusters. The Color Purple became Steven Spielberg's 8th film as a director, and it marked a major turning point in his career. Up to that time, Spielberg was best known for creating huge summer blockbusters like Jaws, E.T., and Indiana Jones. But with The Color Purple, he chose a very different path. Instead of focusing on action, adventure, or science fiction, Spielberg directed a deeply emotional drama based on Alice Walker's Pulitzer Prize-winning novel. The film centered on themes of racism, abuse, resilience, and empowerment.
At the heart of Steven Spielberg's The Color Purple is a child's game, and I think it's called Miss Mary Mack.
Telling the story of Celie's painful but inspiring journey over several decades. This was a bold move for Spielberg, who took on the challenge of adapting a story that was intimate, raw, and socially charged. While some critics questioned whether he was the right person to tell such a story, the film's success proved that he could step outside the blockbuster mold and still make an impact. The Color Purple showed a new side of Spielberg's talent, one that leaned into character-driven storytelling and complex social issues, expanding his reputation beyond the thrills of big-budget entertainment. Most people thought the movie was often overlooked for certain reasons. But the question is, was it truly overlooked? Number 3. Overlooked for its drama. The idea that The Color Purple was overlooked for its drama isn't true. In reality, the drama in Alice Walker's novel and in its adaptations sparked huge controversy and heated debate. Rather than being ignored, the story became one of the most challenged and censored works of its time. Much of the pushback came from its explicit content, including strong language and sexual themes, which placed it on lists of frequently banned books. Its depiction of black men also stirred outrage, with some critics and civil rights groups arguing that the story portrayed them too negatively, often as abusive or violent. Beyond that, the book's raw descriptions of violence, domestic abuse, and generational trauma divided audiences. While some felt it was too harsh to read or watch, others defended it as a necessary and unflinching portrayal of the struggles faced by black women. Instead of being neglected, The Color Purple was at the very center of cultural battles, praised for its honesty, but also criticized for its painful truths. Now, let's move on to the next fact on this list. Number 2. Book author's initial skepticism. When Alice Walker's Pulitzer Prize-winning novel The Color Purple was chosen for a film adaptation, she had mixed feelings about the director attached to the project. Steven Spielberg, at that point, was best known for his blockbuster hits like Jaws and Raiders of the Lost Ark. He was also a white filmmaker being asked to tell a story centered on black womanhood, racial injustice, and the intimate struggles of African American women in the South. Walker feared that the essence of her novel, which was deeply personal and rooted in lived black experiences, might be lost in translation. However, her perspective began to shift after she saw Spielberg's 1982 film E.T. the Extraterrestrial. While it was a science fiction story about a stranded alien, Walker was moved by the tenderness, humanity, and emotional sensitivity that Spielberg brought to the screen. She realized that he could capture raw emotion and build a powerful connection with audiences. This convinced her that Spielberg had the skill and empathy required to adapt The Color Purple with the care and depth it deserved. And the last fact we have. Number 1. Lost in adaptation. The biggest difference between the 1985 film The Color Purple and Alice Walker's groundbreaking novel lies in its treatment of the lesbian relationship at the story's core. In the book, Celie's bond with Shug Avery is an essential part of her empowerment, independence, and self-discovery. Their intimacy is portrayed as a transformative experience that helps Celie reclaim her voice and identity. However, in the film adaptation, these elements were dramatically minimized. The relationship is reduced to a single brief kiss, stripping away much of the depth and significance that Walker gave it in her novel. By softening or erasing this storyline, the film avoided exploring the full complexity of Celie's sexuality and the powerful role it plays in her liberation. This omission has long been criticized as one of the adaptation's biggest shortcomings, as it not only alters Celie's journey, but also downplays an important depiction of black lesbian identity at a time when such representation was rare and groundbreaking. Which of these facts were you least expecting on the list? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it,